Welcome everybody to Hope, Cry, Laugh, Die, a guide to surviving the 21st century! Woo! What an intro, that's going to be hard to live up to. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you very much to everyone involved in Hope, Cry, Laugh, Die, both the book and the performance. Thank you, of course, to everyone who came out here tonight to share my imagination with me. Thank you to Lonnie, Joe, and Roger in the Clinton Street Theater. But most importantly, I would like to say thank you to my mother, who was in the audience tonight. She flew out from the East Coast. Let's give a round of applause. That's right. Because of her uterus, I am here. Thank you, Mom. I love you. For those of you who haven't heard yet, my name is Justin Gauthier, and I am a playwright. I am a sales rep for the Cannabis Farm Fireflower. What? After the show, we'll probably be smoking some of it, get some of that snow leopard. I'm also a bartender, but tonight I get to come to you as a fiction writer. And that's got me super excited. I'm super pumped up because I love writing. I've always loved writing. Writing has been my preferred way to interface with the world ever since I was a kid. When I was really young, I had a really bad stutter, and it was very difficult for me to talk. So writing gave me this really easy communication style where I could take my time, I could choose the words that I wanted to use. It was wonderful. And I love the idea of being able to share with everybody my writing now. So I was thinking about the origins of my writing. And it all started when my family first got the internet. And I joined this online wrestling role-playing league. It was a combination of Dungeons and Dragons and professional wrestling, where you would create a character or a wrestler. You would give them a name, a backstory, a theme song, attributes like speed and strength and endurance, and a finishing move. And then every week you would write these scenes and post them on a message board. And the scenes would be your wrestler trash talking their opponent for the upcoming match, or revealing a part of their backstory. And it was an arena where my imagination could really grow and run and kind of take shape. And I've been writing ever since. Fast forward to the present day, and I had this wonderful short story collection called Hope, Cry, Laugh, Die, and it's coming out tonight! Oh! Yes! It's going to be available after the show out front. Please come and say hi and grab a copy. I would love to share these stories with you. And I'm super excited about it. Have I said that I'm excited yet? I'm really fucking excited. And I was trying to think where I felt this specific kind of excitement before. So I had to dig real deep into the sensory stimulus library of my memory, but I found it. This excitement reminds me of the first time I ever had an orgasm. I was 12 years old. I was sitting on the edge of my bed, and I was trying to figure out how to make my limp little dick work. At this point in my life, the only time I got erections was in the morning, and then I would go pee, and then the erection would go away. So logically, I assumed that an erection was just when your penis got filled up with urine, and then you had to drain it like a waterbed. Now, around the same point in my life in school, all the other boys were talking pretty much about one thing and one thing only, and that was masturbation. They were talking about jacking, whacking, and beating off, choking the bishop, choking the snake, choking the one-eyed wonder weasel. There's a lot of choking and beating and whacking. It's very aggressive. But more specifically, everyone was talking about cum. It was cum this and cum that, and dude, cum is so awesome. Dude, cum is so rad. Everywhere I went in school, there was cum. And I wanted a piece of that cum. So there I was on the edge of my bed as a 12-year-old, and I have my little dick trying to make it work, and I'm pushing it down, I'm pulling it up, and going side to side like I'm playing a joystick made out of cooked spaghetti. You know, I'm going, And keep in mind, I had no sexy motivation. There was no erotic VHS tape or magazine or even a sexy thought. It was pure, stubborn persistence. So pushing it down, pulling it up, going side to side until finally I will an erection into existence. Boo! There it is. So the first thing I do is I grab each side of my newly erect penis and I start to kind of rub it back and forth like that. And it didn't really feel very good, but then I remembered hearing older boys talk about blowjobs. So I started to blow on the tip of it. Like I'm trying to start a fire in the woods. But it's not working, and I remember this thing that this guy from New Jersey said. He said, you can't start a fire without a spark. So I decided to change my tactics. So I begin to squeeze it and rub it. Ooh, and that feels good. So I'm squeezing it and I'm rubbing it, and all of a sudden I feel this deep animal sensation begin to grow inside of me. And I'm rubbing it and I'm squeezing it. And it's growing and it's starting to get a little scary, but at the same time I'm very intoxicated by it. So I'm rubbing and I'm squeezing. I can hear my sisters out in the hallway fighting about something stupid. I hear my dad yell at me, quiet, I'm trying to read. And I'm in my bedroom furiously masturbating. And I'm squeezing and I'm rubbing and I'm squeezing and I'm rubbing, and the animal pressure is building and it's building, and then and there it is. The secret truth of the universe in my hand as a wet, warm, gooey pile of cum. Oh. Anyways, what I'm saying is that publishing your first book is a lot like having your first orgasm. Which is why we're all here tonight. Well, not to have our first orgasms, but because I published my first book, and it's called Hope, Cry, Laugh, Die. It'll be available after the show. I really want to share these stories with you. They are inspiring, they're sad, they're funny, they're morbid. It's going to be super fucking awesome. So please come out and say hi and pick up a copy. But until then, I thought I would give y'all just a little taste. How about that? Maybe like a little teaser, just a few little bits. So I'm just going to read a little bit, just a tidbit from the first story in the collection, just to give you a taste. Here is the cover. This is done by the wonderful Pierce Anderson. Thank you, Pierce. And the first story is called Belly Flop. It's a very inspiring and a happy story. It's a great way to kick off the show and the book. Here it goes. There wasn't a cloud in the blue autumn sky when Michelle executed a perfect dive off the top of her downtown apartment building. She'd been practicing all summer at a public pool. Some days she would go off the diving board 100 times. Each dive she envisioned this exact moment. You suck. You're the worst. You're a complete failure. No one knew she was going to do it. No letters, posts, texts, or emails. She'd experienced 80 years of life, and now it was time to join whatever adventure awaited consciousness after this reality. Not because she was...
I don't know what you're doing, but it's embarrassing, and you need to stop right now.
Sorry. I lost my spot. To join whatever adventure awaited consciousness after this reality. Not because she was depressed or lonely. This was her life, and she could do what she wanted with it. There was no regret in her heart, and no darkness in her soul. It was just time to go.
No one gives a fuck about your stories.
Shut up, inner voice. I give a fuck. Jesus.
Guess what?
What?
You're a fucking loser.
I am not a loser.
You have bad skin, a stutter, terrible eyesight, and a dumb-looking rat face. You suck.
You know what? I'm more than just an amalgamation of my physical characteristics, okay?
Right. I hear you. I get it. I hear what you're saying.
Please.
But hear me, okay?
Fine.
What I'm saying is,
What?
you're a piece of shit.
Damn it, no I'm not!
You're so boring and so unbelievably stupid.
Jesus, sorry. Sometimes my inner voice can really get away from me. And it's super important for us to control our inner voice, to work with our inner voice. Because there's one thing that's gonna be with you, no matter what. I know, from beginning to end, sunrise to sunset, start to finish, all the way until that last precious breath escapes your lungs and you die. That's yourself, your inner voice, your thoughts. And you have to have this ongoing, honest conversation with yourself, no matter how brutal it can become. It's very important, because this body that we have, you know, the head, shoulders, knees, and toes, yeah, we all know that song. It is just a vessel. It's made out of bones and tissue, hormones, chemicals. It's just a vessel. And you need something like your cognizance or your mind. You need your thoughts, your inner voice. Think of your mind as an engine, a power source, an energy source. And you have your body that's a vessel, and you have your mind that's an engine. And you put them together, and you get a vehicle. And you have to take control of your vehicle. If you want to survive the 21st century, you gotta take control of your vehicle. And it all starts with your mind. Everything I am comes from my mind. Everything we are as a species comes from our minds. Everything we've ever created started in our minds. Now, this is assuming, of course, that there's been no outside help. There's been no outside interference. No astral travelers or interdimensional beings, no supernatural entities, you know, which I'm open to talking about that, but maybe after the show. For right now, let's just assume it's been us. Just us, Homo sapiens, doing Homo sapien things all along. We've been eating and farting and fucking and fighting and dying all the livelong day. Just us, Homo sapiens. That means that everything we've ever created comes from our minds. Everything. And it's amazing. You know, from the tiniest of triumphs to the most terrible tragedies, it's all been us. We've created everything, and it all comes from our mind. That means that everything that's around us, that we've created at some point in time, started as an electrical spark passing between synapses in a single human brain. It's the birth of a thought. And it starts out in the private darkness of your own mind as intention. But that intention very quickly gives way to a unique thought. That unique thought grows, it morphs, it evolves, it expands, it becomes defined enough that you want to share it with somebody. So you talk to them about your unique thought. Now, they have their own ideas about your unique thought that they want to talk about, and they share it with somebody else. And this whole process continues exponentially until eventually you have a mega structure of ideas all based around your unique thought. Now, what we do next as a species is we pool our collective resources. And we begin to engineer and create and innovate. And this is all based around your unique thought. It all started there. Now we're going back and forth, up and down, in and out, creating, scrapping, creating, doing this over and over and over and over again until one day, until one day, we created something that was game-changing, that made everything else better, different. We created shoelaces. or forks, battleships, solar energy, indoor plumbing, sliced bread for sandwiches, or the Nintendo Entertainment System. Woo! Everything we've ever created comes from our minds. That means that your mind is the most valuable resource on the planet. More specifically, unique thought is the most valuable resource on the planet. And your mind has the ability to create an infinite amount of unique thought. Now, I want us to think about the way our species has approached other valuable resources in our illustrious history. Things like water or land or food or salt, timber, oil. Think about the atrocities of war that we rage against each other in the name of acquiring and controlling these resources. Well, here's a trick for you. Without unique thought, without our ability to improvise and innovate, most of these things wouldn't have any value to us because we would have never figured out how to use them. Unique thought is a bedrock commodity. It is the most valuable thing on the planet, and you control it. All of you do. You are the most valuable thing. Your mind can create unique thought. Oh. Now, if we're going to fight wars over salt and timber and oil, you better believe we're going to fight a war over unique thought. And there's a war going on right now, and it's a war for your mind. It's a war for your mind to take control of your vehicle away from you because you can create unique thought. Now, it's not a war that involves bullets and bombs. It's a war that involves pictures and sounds and articles and videos and film and TV, all this crazy stuff, right? And it's all aimed at trying to take control of your vehicle away from you because it starts with your mind. Now, it can get very overwhelming being in this war for your mind because it happens in every micro moment of your life through the environment you live in. Now, when we feel like this, we tend to look for external help sometimes because we feel isolated or confused or angry or frustrated, and we look to outside sources for help. Now, I want to be clear, it's okay to ask for help. It's totally fine. Help is fine. But you are very powerful, and most of the things that you run up against in your life, you can solve by yourself using your unique thought. I know you can. But if we ask for too much help sometimes, we can inadvertently surrender control of our vehicle, and we don't even know it. Check this out. Let's say you want to change your diet. You want to eat better. So instead of doing the research, figuring out what you want to eat, what works for you, what you like, you go talk to a nutritionist to tell you how to eat. Maybe you want to get your vessel in shape. You want to exercise, but you don't want to do research on that and figure out what kind of exercise programs are good for you, what you like, so you go talk to a physical trainer to tell you how to move. Maybe you don't like how you think, so you consult the world of psychiatry and psychology to tell you how to think. Maybe you've lost the ability to imagine. You get bored very easy, so you give your imagination over to the entertainment industry. Most folks don't know how to celebrate being alive, so we need holidays to tell us when in the year and how it's okay to celebrate being alive. Maybe we don't know how to behave, so we turn to government and its laws to tell us how to behave towards each other. Maybe we don't know how to believe, so we give our soul over to religion. And just like that, how you eat, move, think, imagine, celebrate, behave, and believe are all being dictated to you from external sources. And you've lost control of your vehicle. That's not how you survive the 21st century. Now, those last two groups, in particular, government and religion, a long time ago, people figured out how to use fear and guilt as weapons in the war for your mind. And when it comes to using fear and guilt as a weapon, enter organized religion. Now, I was raised Roman Catholic. You didn't know. And that means every Sunday, my family would go to church. You know, this big, imposing wood, stone building with stained glass everywhere. And there'd be this old man adorned in ornate robes standing high above everybody else. And it sounded like to me he was talking in this ancient language. It sounded like he was casting spells in this ancient language. Spells meant to plant the seeds of fear and guilt in the minds of all in attendance, specifically in the minds of the children. Our minds are infinite, and as a child, our infinities are very vulnerable. We don't have the ability to cognitively defend ourselves yet. It's very hard for us to tell what's real and what's not real. So as a child, we turn to these authoritative sources to help us figure that out, like priests, school teachers, parents. And we can very easily manifest physically what we believe to be real. For example, when I was a kid, one night my mom was making chocolate chip cookie dough for cookies. And I'm not sure if you've ever had raw chocolate chip cookie dough, but it's like the crack rock of childhood. And so I wanted to snack on the chocolate chip cookie dough. When I thought her back was turned, I grabbed a little bit and run away. But you know, moms have that omnipotent 360-degree vision. And she'd say, Justin, stop it. Stop eating that cookie dough. Stop it. But I wouldn't listen to her. I kept on snacking. She'd smack my hand with a wooden spoon. Stop it. But I wouldn't. I kept on snacking. She got so frustrated, so mad, she just straight up yelled at me.
Don't you give me that look, you're gonna get it!
Oh, mom tone. Ugh. Cuts down to the bone. But I was in a chocolate chip cookie dough craze, so I didn't stop. Kept on eating it and eating it. Finally, she just had enough, and she grabbed me by the shoulders and looked me square in the eye, and she said, Justin, all that cookie dough that you ate, it's not gonna digest in your stomach. And tonight, when you're under your covers, all that heat is gonna cause the dough to rise and expand. And then your stomach's gonna explode and you're gonna die. Jesus, Mom! So I stopped eating the cookie dough. But I couldn't sleep for months because I thought every time I would go to bed, my stomach would explode and I would die a chocolate chip cookie dough death. And that's the power of our minds. We can do that. Now, also, as a kid, I wasn't allowed to play the iconic video game Mortal Kombat. Ooh. Because of the simulated cartoon violence. You know, it was too much for a child to see those 16-bit droplets of blood pop out. Too much! And there was this movement nationally to censor this kind of content from children, you know, disturbing, violent, or terrifying content. They didn't want it to get to the impressionable minds of the kids. They didn't want to warp their sense of reality. They didn't want to damage that mind that's so, you know, impressionable. So they said, no more disturbing or violent or terrifying content. Now, what I find sickeningly hilarious is that the people who are pushing for this type of censorship were the same folks that were taking their kids to church on Sunday. And there'd be that old man who looked like a robed wizard, standing high above everybody else on the pulpit, casting ancient spells over you, looking at everybody, looking at the kids, looking at me, and saying, Justin, oh young dear little Justin, if you don't do what I tell you to do, if you don't do as I command, then you're gonna burn in a lake of fire while flesh-eating demons rip the skin from your bones for eternity. What the fuck? But coincidentally, that's how I feel about romantic comedies. You see, in the war for your mind, the targets are usually the weakest ones, and those are oftentimes the children or the ones that have the least experience. And if you expose a very wild and romantic, inexperienced, gullible heart to a rom-com, it can totally skew their perception of relationships. And I know because it happened to me. So first it was Jennifer Ganter. Golf year, Ganter, our lockers were right next to each other, freshman year through senior year. And it was the first time I felt that chemical reaction of love via anybody else other than someone in my family. At the same time, I was obsessed with the movie Can't Hardly Wait. I thought I was going to be Preston Myers, and she was going to be Amanda Beckett, And then senior year, before going off to college, I'd write her this really elaborate love letter. There'd be a strawberry Pop-Tart involved, and it would all work out. And of course it didn't work out. But that was the prelude. That was the warm-up. That was the appetizer, because the real big one, that happened in college. And her name was Lindsay Birdwell. Mm-hmm. Lindsay Birdwell. So I met Lindsay in the basement of a house during a hardcore show. I was wearing really tight girl jeans with Asics flats and a bandana in my back pocket. Yeah. She had a really cool scene haircut with a septum piercing and thick-rimmed eyeglasses. We both liked Taking Back Sunday. The original band with John Nolan. We were both from rural Indiana towns. It was perfect. I thought all the deceit and destruction in the world, it didn't matter, because Lindsay and I were going to go past it. We were going to go beyond it. I became addicted to the chemical reaction of love via Lindsay Birdwell. And over a 2-year period, we got really close, spent a lot of time together. And I thought, oh, Lindsay and I, we're going to ride off through the cornfields and into those deep, saturated reds, yellows, and oranges of the Midwestern sunset.
Please do not bring this up, dude.
Shut up, I'm telling a story. So, Lindsay and I became very close. And I started to feel these really intense emotions when I was around her. It was hard for me to talk or articulate what I wanted to say. I didn't know what to do. It was really messing me up. So finally, I gathered the courage and I said, you know what? I have to tell Lindsay Birdwell how I feel. I have to. So I called her up one night and I said, Lindsay, will you please meet me outside of your dorm building? It was on this rainy Indiana night. And she came out and she met me. I said, hi, Lindsay, there's something I really gotta tell you. And I handed her a Discman. It had a burnt CD in it with a song from the movie Moulin Rouge on it. I used to watch the movie all the time. And she put the headphones on, I hit play, and I thought in my heart, this is gonna be the greatest moment of my life.
You are a pathetic fucking joke, you goddamn sack of shit.
Sorry. Like I was saying, I thought this was gonna be the greatest moment of my life. Like in every movie I ever saw, this is gonna work out for me. So, while she's listening to the Moulin Rouge song, I brought these big white cue cards, like from the movie Love Actually. And on these cue cards, I wrote in the most grandiose, poetic, and romantic language I could muster my feelings for Lindsay Birdwell. So, I'm holding these cue cards while she's holding the Discman and listening to the Moulin Rouge song. The rain's coming down. People are walking around us outside of her dorm building staring at us. She reads everything, read every card. I thought I was going to throw up. I was so nervous. But, we get through it. I hold down the cue cards. She hands me back the Discman. She kind of looks down and then looks back up, and she has a very solemn expression on her face, and she says, Justin, I'm sorry. I don't feel like that about you. I just want to be friends.
Fatality.
It's really hard to take control of your vehicle. Well, it's something that we all have to do. And if you want to survive the 21st century, you got to take control of your vehicle. And it comes from your mind, right? Your mind is the engine. Now, you can do a lot of work on yourself. You can you spend years even, because taking control of your vehicle isn't a thing that just happens. It's an ongoing process you always got to be involved in. And even after years of self-work, talking to yourself, analyzing your thoughts, being self-critical, you can think everything is going great. You know who you are, where you're going, and how you're going to get there. You got it. You think everything is good, it's all okay. And then, one day your emotions show up. Now, emotions are chemical reactions that happen inside of your body. And they can become very overwhelming, and even to a certain point, addictive. And we talk a lot about being addicted to nicotine or alcohol or caffeine and other drugs, but we don't hear a lot of people talking about being addicted to emotions. But an emotion is just a chemical reaction that happens within your body. I was addicted to the chemical reaction of love via Lindsay Birdwell, and it made me do really dumb stuff, like express my feelings with the Moulin Rouge song and cue cards. But I didn't think at the time I had control over that. I didn't know that I could control it. I didn't know. Now, emotions are great. We should always feel our emotions because they're a part of us, but they're a part of the body. And our society tells us a lot to focus on the body. Focus on how we look, how we feel, how we think others think we look. And if you put too much emphasis on your body, you don't develop the mind. The mind is the engine to your vehicle, not your body. Now, like I said, you should still feel your emotions. They're beautiful. Emotions are awesome because they anchor our cognizance in this physical reality. Emotions are great. But you gotta feel all of them. Not just the good ones. I know. And like any creature carrying the blessed curse of cognizance, I get depressed. It sucks. I hate it. I feel ugly and stupid. I don't want to get out of bed on time. I don't want to eat well or exercise. Everything I create is terrible. These crashing waves of self-pity and self-loathing just suffocate me and beat me down until I don't want to do anything but die. It sucks. I hate it. But it's a part of me. So I dive deep into it. I dive as deep as I can into it to try to figure it out. Because once I figure it out, then I can control it and I can use it as motivation. And on the flip side, it's the same thing with jubilance. Some days I feel fucking awesome. I'm super attractive, I'm articulate, all my ideas rock, all I see is futures of possibilities spread out before me. Yeah, it's great. But I don't let that control me either. You dive deep into the jubilance so that you can control it. And everything from the depression to the jubilance, all the little ones in between, right? You gotta control that. Because your body is not the engine of your vehicle, it's your mind. Now, like I was saying earlier, we figured out a long time ago how to use fear and guilt as weapons in the war for your mind, right? We know. We see it all the time. We see it on TV and everywhere. Fear and guilt are very easy to spot when they're being used against us. But there are two other emotions that are far harder to detect and therefore way more dangerous, way more insidious. The two most weaponized emotions are love and happiness. Love and happiness. Love and happiness are great. I really enjoy feeling love and happy. It's good. But emotions are transient states of chemical reaction, and they come and they go. Love and happiness come and go. They're chemical reactions that happen within the body. Now, we're told that love should be the reason for existence, and that happiness should be our one true pursuit, the pursuit of love and happiness. We're told this. We're engineered to believe this, and if we reject that, if we don't agree with that, we're called heartless, or cold, or unfeeling, or we're called sociopaths. And it's just not true. It's just not true. Emotions are chemical reactions. They come and they go. Now, I want us to look at love and happiness and emotions from a different perspective. So, love and happiness, chemical reactions. When you feel them, it's because, something happened. We think that it's this plateau you achieve. You're in love, you're always in love, there's always love. Or you find happiness and you're always happy. But it's not that way, because they come and they go. It's not some skill level you unlock in a video game. Love and happiness are like drugs. Emotions are drugs. And they're used against us in the war for our mind to take control of our vehicle away. See, love and happiness, if you use them as the driving forces behind your life, it'll be cool for a very short period of time. You know, you see someone that you love, that you're attracted to, you touch them, you taste them, you feel them, you hear a song you like, eat some food, read a book, see a movie. Something happens and it triggers all this beautiful neurochemical action, like dopamine, serotonin. You feel happy or love, but then it's gone. And so you want more. You want more happiness, more love. If you don't have it, you feel empty. You're told if you don't have love and happiness in your life in abundance, then you're doing something wrong. So you chase after it, you crave it, you need it, you become a fiend, you become a drug addict for love and happiness. You need more love, more happy, more happy. If I don't have it, then I'm empty, I'm strung out, I'm weak, I'm powerless, and I'm confused. And that doesn't sound like taking control of your vehicle. That sounds like losing control of your vehicle.
You're telling people to give up on love and happiness? You're an asshole.
No, shut up, I'm not saying that. So, just to be clear, I'm not saying to give up on love and happiness. Love and happiness are awesome. They're great. But put them in their place. Know what they are. They're just transient states of chemical reaction based in your body. Now, I have a suggestion for two things that are far more powerful than love and happiness. Do you want to hear what they are? You curious? These two things are way more powerful than love and happiness, and they're not based in your body. These two things are hope and commitment. Ooh, it just feels good to say it. Hope and commitment. Hope and commitment should be the driving forces behind your life, not love and happiness. Hope is a choice that you make. Hope comes from your mind, and that's the engine of your vehicle. You choose to be hopeful about something, and you have to constantly re-up that hope because we live in a world where there's institutions and organizations that are constantly trying to take your hope away from you. You choose to be hopeful. That's a choice you make. That's empowering you to be hopeful. And commitment is an extension of that hope. Commitment is you enacting your hope in the real world. You commit to something you're hopeful about. Oh, now, it's not easy, and it gets harder and harder as you get older, but you can do it. And when you use hope and commitment instead of love and happiness, ooh, you become a singularity. See, love and happiness will make you feel strung out and confused and very unhappy because you will not have that chemical reaction all the time. But if you use hope and commitment as the driving force behind your life, you will become a formidable foe in the war for your mind.
Let's get ready to rumble!
See, we are in a war, and it's for your mind. Whether or not you want to be in it or not, it's there, and it's happening. You gotta fight. You have to fight. Now, fighting is a very Homo sapien thing. We do it all the time. Now, I want to draw a distinction between two kinds of fighting. Very important distinction. There's fighting against and there's fighting for. When you fight against something, you become a reactionary animal, like a dog. You hear a loud, unfamiliar sound, and you just start to bark. You don't know why, you're just barking. When you fight against, it's usually a product of anger, fear, hatred, envy, all emotions. When you fight against, you surrender control of your vehicle to whatever stimulus caused the reaction. But more importantly, whatever source controls the stimulus that caused the reaction. So by fighting against, you are actually surrendering control of your vehicle to an organization, or to a movement, or to an individual. You're being triggered and controlled by somebody. Now, when you fight for, that's way different. When you fight for, you're the one taking control. When you fight for your unique thought, when you fight for your individuality, that's you enacting yourself on the world. You're not reacting to something. You're doing something. Fight for yourself. Fight for your individuality. In the 21st century, our individuality is being taken away from us. You gotta fight for it, and you do that with your unique thought, and you do that with your hope and commitment. Yes. Now, it gets hard, because when you fight for your individuality, the hard truth is that most of the time you end up fighting alone.
Oh my God, do you think what you're saying actually matters?
Yes, I do. Why?
You are so full of yourself, dude.
I'm just telling these people what I think. Jesus.
Look at me, I'm on stage with a published book like I fucking matter.
You know, do you ever think that you're super mean to me and that one day we're gonna die and all this time of you being mean?
I wish you'd stop being such a dipshit.
Oh my God. Well, one day we're gonna die, inner voice, and then we would have wasted all of this beautiful time.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah, so we're gonna die.
we are gonna die. So can you chill and be on my side for once?
Ah, fuck.
What?
I'm all depressed.
Don't be depressed. I'm talking about us being on the same side, using these ideas as weapons. Can we do that? Be on the same side?
I don't know. Maybe you're right.
See, death sucks. I hate it. Death is the one thing I am truly afraid of. And it's not the act of dying, it's what comes after. It's the void. It's eternity. See, the concept of eternity was planted in my vulnerable infinity when I was a kid in church. I remember I'd be in that cold wooded pew as my mind worked out what it was to not exist. And I'd have these raging panic attacks. I would want to scream and cry, throw up, and destroy something. It would take control of me. And what totally tripped me out is I would look around, and everybody in church was just placid as a fucking potato. I didn't know why. I was like, oh my God. And that's the thing that frightens me, is the eternity, the void, being gone forever, out my cognizance. I don't want to lose my cognizance. I don't want to lose my thoughts. I don't want to die. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen to all of us. So, much like the depression that I was talking about, instead of allowing that anxiety to control me, I just dove deep into it. I dove deep as I could into death to understand it, understand why it made me feel the way that I did, so I could control it. Now, I use it as a motivator. If I feel like I'm being ungrateful for my cognizance, or if I want to complain about something, if there's a little inconvenience happening in my life, I just quickly remind myself, well, the alternative to this is not existing. So be grateful. That's what I do. And we can all do that. This summer, if you're in traffic and you have no AC, you're pissed off, or someone at work is just really getting on your nerves, there's a person in the grocery store on the bus that's doing something super annoying, just tell yourself, would I rather be experiencing this moment of my life, or would I rather be dead? See, death is a very important part of taking control of your vehicle. So I want to tell you all about the time that I almost died. So, I just turned 28. And the restaurant that I had worked at for a little over 3 years shut down. So I got laid off. And the lady that I was seeing at the time, her and I split up. So I had no job. I was not in a relationship. I was in kind of this free fall moment of my life. And then one day, halfway through January, I wake up and I feel these little numb spots on the bottom of my feet. They're like really localized pins and needles. But I don't think anything of it. It's January, I'm wearing really crappy shoes, so I think whatever. The next day, I wake up and that pins and needles feeling spread kind of like, almost my whole foot. And I'm feeling very lethargic, very slow, tired. And I think maybe I'm just overworked, I'm stressed out because of all the things that are happening. So I smoke a joint, take a bath. The next day, I wake up and I can't move my legs. I'm in bed and I can kind of shake them a little bit, but I can't stand up on my own. So I have to roll myself out of bed, to crawl over to my phone to get a hold of a friend of mine who was a social worker at the time, Becky, this amazing woman. And I said, do you know of a doctor that can see me real quick? Because I don't have any health insurance and something weird is happening. She kind of freaked out and came over and she got me. She had to essentially drag me out of my apartment, dump me into her car, and we went to the hospital. And none of the doctors could tell me what was going on. So here I am, I'm sitting in the hospital bed and my body is quickly failing me. None of the doctors can tell me what's going on. And I very sincerely thought that I was going to die. And I've never been in that kind of a headspace before or since. And it's very unique. You think about everything. You think about yourself. You think about what you're doing, what's happening. And for me, that panic came back that I felt as a child in church, as I had to work out the idea of being dead, about being gone forever.
Forever.
No more s'mores. Now, while I was going through this battery of tests and examinations, no one could tell me anything. I had to come to terms with my death. I thought that's what was happening. So I thought, okay, all the positivity I claim to have, all the hope and commitment I think I possess, this is the test. This is where it all gets, this is the arena. Can I die with hope? It was very difficult. It was very scary. Now, eventually, I was totally paralyzed from the neck down. I couldn't move at all. And eventually, my internal organs started to get affected by this. So it was getting harder to breathe. But finally, they figured out what was happening. So it is this thing called Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is an autoimmune disease. What that means is my immune system was attacking my body. So I got sick a little bit before this. My immune system got all worked up, and then when your sickness is done, the immune system is supposed to Netflix and chill. All right. But mine didn't. It kept the party going, and it started to attack the myelin in my body. And myelin is this nerve sheath that wraps around your nerves like rubber around an electrical cord. It keeps the impulse going from your brain to wherever it is supposed to go. So while my myelin was being destroyed, I would say move your legs, but the signal wouldn't get there. This was happening everywhere. So they administered this really severe treatment where they used this stuff called immunoglobulin, which came in this like glass jar that reminded me, it made me think I was in World War I. It was like hanging next to this thing, and I asked the nurse, wow, that's a pretty cool glass jar. She goes, don't even ask me how much it costs. But what it does is it suffocates and destroys your immune system. So I didn't die. Yeah! However, the damage had already been done. So I was totally paralyzed to the point where I had to have Mel, who was a pretty rough-handed but very patient and kind nurse. He would very deeply have to insert anal laxative suppositories deep into my asshole so I could poop because I couldn't poop. And that ended up becoming this really important benchmark for me because after I found out that I wasn't going to die, my next biggest fear was being kicked out of the hospital because I didn't have any health insurance. So I begged and I pleaded with the nurses and the doctors and the social workers. I said, please, let me get to the point where I can poop on my own and where I can wipe my own ass. This is what I said to them. This is to me. I thought if I could get there, I got a fighting chance. And they were very gracious, very kind. And I was in the hospital for a little over 2 months until my body began to rebuild the myelin, that nerve sheath, which meant my brain could send those signals. So when I was discharged from the hospital, I couldn't really stand up on my own, but I could shuffle around on a cane. I could kind of walk a little bit, but not very well. And I was almost 30, and I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to tie my shoes. I had to learn how to eat. I had to learn how to do everything all over again. And it was very hard. It was very scary. I was in the deepest hole that I'd ever been in, ever. And I had to climb out of it. It took a long time. But, long story short, here I fucking am! Here I fucking am! Now, when I got out of the hospital, my body was a withered, wasted husk. It was a shell. It was useless, but I had my mind. My engine was still intact. And I used my engine to take control of my vehicle. And I built my life back up, step by step, year by year. It was painful. It was hard. It was lonely. I didn't give up. I didn't give in to the depression and anxiety that was eating me alive. I didn't go crawling back home to my parents even though they wanted me to. I didn't give up. And it was all because of my mind. I learned the true power of the mind. And that's a power that all of you have. You all have it. You can do that with your mind. You can overcome anything with your mind. Your unique thought, your hope and commitment. Now, if I was born 50, 75 years earlier, if I was alive back then, I would have died. But I didn't, and I feel like I stole the second chance at cognizance. I've never been the same. It's all because of death. You know, it sucks, but sometimes when we're trying to take control of our vehicle, we have to focus on death.
Whoa.
What?
First, you say love and happiness are not important.
Yes, I said that.
Then you say we should focus on death.
Sometimes, yes.
Well, I want to support you, but that's messed up, dude.
It's not messed up. What's messed up is never having control of your vehicle because we're always fucking fighting. Maybe you and I could be on the same side one time. What do you think about that? Working as a team. Could we do that? Inner voice?
So what I'm putting together is you want us to work together.
Together. Yeah, I want us to work together.
Well, our ideas are pretty much always very awesome.
Our ideas are awesome, and if we're on the same team, what could we do with them?
Yeah. I'm down. Let's work together.
We're on the same team! Yes! Inner voice in our yes!
But you're still a dipshit.
It's okay to be hard on yourself. It's really important. You have to have that ongoing, honest conversation, no matter what, throughout your whole life. And you gotta be hard on yourself sometimes, but you also gotta be constructive, right? You gotta do both of them because we are awesome, but we're also awful. We are deliriously intelligent, but we're also dipshits. We are everything, nothing, both, and neither, all at the same time simultaneously. And that quantum idea is what we create intention out of, the quantum intention. And that's where unique thought comes from. And you use unique thought to take control of your vehicle, to control your emotions, and use your hope and commitment to fight for your individuality in the 21st century. You hear me? That's what you have to do to survive it and succeed in it. You gotta fight for your individuality, use your hope and commitment and your unique thought to affect your environment in a positive way. That's what you gotta do. Now, do we get depressed? Yes. Are we tired? Yes. Do we worry about the future? There's not a day that goes by that I don't obsess over all the terrible things that are happening, could happen, or will happen. Do we live in a simulation? Sure. Are we the product of alien genetic testing? Okay. Who's the president of this country? Who's the president of any fucking country? It doesn't matter. This is about you and your mind, your unique thought, and taking control of your vehicle and fighting for your individuality with hope and commitment. That's what you got to do to survive. And I know you can do it. I root for you, all of you. I believe in you and I root for you. You are powerful. You are endless. You are amazing. And with your engine, if you have control of it, oh, that's the start of everything you've ever wanted. But there's a catch. You're never going to get there. Because as soon as you achieve your goal, as soon as you get to what you thought your dreams were, there's going to be something new that auto-populates. Boom, new goal. And that's beautiful because your vehicle is meant to be in motion. And if you have control of it, you can take it wherever you want to go. You can be this badass starship cruising through the cosmos, leaving a big old trail of success, hope, commitment, and unique thought in your wake. How does that sound? Oh, that sounds amazing. And you can do it. I believe in you. So, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my human heart. I've loved sharing this evening with you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for hearing my ideas. Thank you for sharing my imagination with me. And I really mean it when I say I believe in you and I root for you. You don't need to be sarcastic about stuff. Say what you mean. Look people in the eye. Speak from the heart. I believe in all of you and I root for you. And we can fight for ourselves and our individuality in the 21st century. Thank you all very much. Come see me out front because this is also a book release show. I have a book of short stories. There's 13 stories. I can't wait for you to read them. Come say hi to me. Pick up a copy. I would love to talk to you after the show. Come and see me. I am Justin Gauthier. Yeah. And I have fought tooth and nail for 34 years to take control of my vehicle, and I'm still working on it. I feel like I've just scratched the surface. So this is not the last time that I'll see you doing this, but for tonight it is. Come see me out front. We're gonna have some drinks at the Clinton Street Pub. Let's go. Yeah, let's go celebrate our hope and commitment. Let's go celebrate our unique thought, because we're all going to survive the 21st century, and we're going to do it as individuals. Thank you all very much. Farewell!